What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about T2. I want to give you an overview of some of the data points, what's been coming up from the company, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 11.49%. As far as volume, a lot of eyes are on it because 28.6 million shares being traded within the first 1 hour of the trading day. 98 is the average. So today is a very heavy volume day. At the time of doing this video, no SEC filings, no press releases. So as of right now, it is just following the broader market. And unfortunately, a lot of people are trying to digest a lot of these bearish articles. That is all, for the most part, saying the same thing about T2's balance sheet and the lack of liquidity they have, and ultimately through that their inability eventually to push out this product to the market. So this is where it's causing a lot of fear, a lot of FUD, and as a result it is going down because of that. So let me know your thoughts on that as well. There is a 1-minute video that I just wanted to play for you, and just to kind of once again put it in perspective on how the bigger players essentially might want T2 to fail. So I'm just going to play this quick video and then let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below.
The obvious answer would be that we compete against companies offering diagnostic products that require a blood culture as their clinical specimen. That is, they cannot detect sepsis-causing pathogens directly from blood. Again, we have the first and only FDA-cleared products able to detect sepsis-causing pathogens directly from blood. The less obvious answer is that we compete against empiric use of broad-spectrum antimicrobials. Data shows that empiric use of antimicrobials are only appropriate between 30 and 60% of the time. And here I'd ask a rhetorical question. Who benefits from the use of empiric broad-spectrum antimicrobials? I think investors also understand that not everyone wants us to succeed. Our success may dampen the use of blood culture-based diagnostics, as well as the empiric use of broad-spectrum antimicrobials.
So of course, there you have it. Big Pharma essentially, and many other institutions maybe that are investing through Big Pharma, obviously would want T2 to fail. So once again, this is where you're probably getting a lot of these FUD articles coming out. So let me know your thoughts on that. As far as some data points today, starting off with options, $9,000 in calls being purchased versus $2,000 in puts. So based on this, people are anticipating for it to trend up. And as I have signaled in the past, going over to here, based on the latest Morningstar report, it does show the fair market value for T2 being 53 cents. So that's just based on their assets that they do have, so keep that in mind. But as far as this Morningstar report, I do believe that it was updated last Friday. But as well, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information such as analyst ratings, forecasts, Morningstar reports, click on the link in the description below for Interactive Brokers for all of this to be completely free. But once again, moving on from that, I do feel that it's also maybe because of their business practice, there's bigger institutions that want it to fail, but at the same time, why there's a lot of selling pressure, especially based on options, market makers. Market makers clearly do not want it to go over 50 cents because if they do, there would be options that are at the 50-cent strike price that would be expiring in the money. So once again, as of right now, there's around 8,000 in open interest and 2,000 at the $1 strike price. So once again, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. I'll give you an overview quickly of what shorts are doing. And so short score right now is 73. Utilization is 90.24%. And as far as right now, 3.73 million shares are being increased. 12.55% of the free float is being shorted, and that works out to be around 35.54 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow is opening up a little bit higher versus yesterday, so 66.24% is the average cost to borrow average, and the max being 199%. So things are getting pretty interesting. It would be good to see a update coming from the company just to address the whole liquidity and their whole marketing plan, because that's one thing that I actually did bring up during the last video in my very first coverage of this company is what is their plan? Because of course there is several companies I've kind of looked at in the past, and based on what they have obviously going for them, it really really does remind me of 𝗪𝗓𝗧. So ticker is ZOM, still live, still kicking. But what happened with them is they didn't really market their product, their revolutionary product, as good as they should have. And unfortunately, as a result, there just wasn't that much demand. So when it comes down to this, I would really like to see what their plan is to market and ultimately what their forecasted demand is. And just generally, what is the price point on this? Because if it is like $5 million or more or whatever else, like obviously that would just lower the demand. But once again, I think that management should come out with their plan, and I think that might actually be able to give T2 a nice boost up as a result of that. But when it comes down to it, as far as looking on the actual technicals right now, it is, if we zoom in, it is kind of wedge bound between the 50 and 100 day moving average right now. So in theory though, it does have a lot of good opportunity to kind of boost out and go up from here. It is just waiting on a good piece of news, but of course, vice versa, it's kind of on the edge essentially. So if shorts and other entities are still trying to pound T2 down, if it does kind of get below this around 21-cent mark, then unfortunately it might be essentially in free fall. But hopefully, because of its oversold status and just maybe based on what I mentioned about the 53-cent intrinsic value, just based on the assets alone, people will realize that, and it should cause it to go up as a result. Or potentially if T2 management does provide the update as far as what their marketing plan is and many other things, that could really give it a nice boost up. But once again, let me know your thoughts on that. As far as some points to really watch for, with it at 25.64 cents, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So I know it has pulled back quite a lot, but in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it's actually doing pretty well, kind of. Take that with a grain of salt, of course, but 24.5 cents is that next strong support, and around 28 cents is going to be that next strong resistance. It kind of got close to that resistance point today, but generally you can tell it does truly want to go up. It just needs some fundamental reason to do so. So let me know your thoughts on what might cause that, or what do you think is going to be the case in this? Do you think that as well this is going to be ever a short squeeze? I know there's a group out there that does not want this to squeeze, because essentially if it does squeeze, this kind of memifies it. And I know I kind of am making up a word there, but of course I know there's a lot of companies out there that do not want to be considered a meme stock, such as even 𝗪𝗓𝗧𝗛, like I already mentioned, and especially last video as well. They got very popular because they were getting completely hounded by shorts. And as a result, especially with that revolutionary product, people assumed that there was going to be a squeeze, which rushed in a lot of retail investors. So I think that's kind of also what's happening with T2, but who knows? Let me know your thoughts on this. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And take advantage of this promo like I've been sharing with you. Sign up for an account with Moo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock can be valued up to $2,000. So this is one of the best deals, only up until September the 30th. So take advantage of that while you can. Link in the description below and also the comments. But with all that said, I appreciate you all watching. Let's eventually make a lot of money on T2.